Welcome everybody. This is Jason, and the name of this week's workshop is the Joint of No Return. It's an object creation workshop. Specifically, this is about joining objects with animation skeletons. So let's see how that works. So I mastered basic object creation. How difficult is it to add object animation to my toolbox? So the basics, that's the CTSS, OBJD, and TXTR, remain the same. What we'll be doing differently is the GMDC. And so we're exporting a GMDC, we're animating it in Milkshape. And so this depends on your skill in Milkshape. What types of animations are available on objects? Object animation falls into two categories. Translation, that's a sliding back and forth motion. So if you imagine one of the counter drawers that slide out and slide back in, and then you have rotation, which is a swinging motion from a fixed point, like a refrigerator door, or trying to think of another example that swings like that, like the tailgate on a truck. So to get started, we open Object Workshop and we click Start, and we're just going to clone a Maxis object that has the animation skeleton that we need. We clone the object, we modify the CTSS, OBJD, and TXTR as we normally would. We select the GMDC in the resource tree, and then the first GMDC in the resource list. In this example, it actually has two different GMDC. This is because it's jointed like a toy box. It has a base, which is linked to the animation skeleton, and it has a lid, which is linked to the animation skeleton. So in this case, we're starting with the base, the root rot GMDC. And we right click on that resource in the resource list, and we select extract in the dropdown. And then we would give that exported GMDC unique name, and we would do the same with the lid. Once we've exported, we open Milkshape, we import, and we select Sims 2 Unimesh import version 4.09, and we import the skeleton. So once you've imported it, it should look something like this. You can see the little blue dots. Those are the actual joints. You've got the base and you've got the lid. It's a really simple animation. If you go to the Joints tab and select Show Skeleton and Draw Vertex Weights, and then you double click on each joint, you can see that this one is assigned to joint 01H. So we've determined that this is the base. This is the one that we need to assign our object to. From there, we go File, Import Wavefront Object, and we import our own object right over the other one. In the Groups tab, we can hide the original object so that we can see ours more clearly. We double click on that joint 1, and you can see that it's highlighted in red now that we have it selected. We hold Shift, we move to the Groups tab, and then we select both of the groups that we just imported. So both the joint and the two groups are highlighted in red. We move back to the Joints tab and we click Assign. So this one is all done. The base is assigned to the base joint. If we want to double check, if we want to be extra sure, we can check the box that says Draw Vertices with Bone Colors, and we can see that these are assigned to the same joint as the original group. Then we return to the Groups tab and we delete the original subsets, leaving only the subsets that we imported. We select File, Export Sims 2 Unimesh Exporter version 4.09, just as we did before, but this time we're exporting it from Milkshape. We give it a unique name, we save it in our projects folder, and we repeat that exact same process for the lid. Now, to replace the GMDC, we select the GMDC in the resource tree, the one that we want to replace in the resource list. We right click, and then in the dropdown, we're selecting Replace. We go to our folder, we select the one that we exported that we're trying to replace the GMDC with, we just replace. Then in the plugin, we click on that preview button, And if you look at the joint hierarchy over on the right and double click the root trans joint, you can see that the entire base is assigned to that joint. And that's it. We commit, we save, and we're ready to test in game. So we've got SimPE open. And let's start with the bar stool because that one's easier. We're on our Object Workshop tab. We click Start. And we go to Seating. And is it Recreation? No. That's the Chase Lounges. Is it MISC? Yes, it is. Okay, so any old bar stool. And I want one that's not terribly shiny because I've got the model that I'm using is kind of an old looking bar stool. So we select Keister Companion. That one should be fine. And then we click Next, Next, and I'm just going to call this Workshop Bar Stool. Give it a price of $220. Click on Finish. And we rename the scene graph.
Sorry, what category did you get that in? Was it MISC?
Yes, Seating MISC.
Seating MISC. Okay, thank you.
We rename our scene graph. We click Update. We click OK. And need to say this in, sorry, the joint of no return. And I'm just going to call it the same thing, Workshop Bar Stool. Okay, so we switch back to plugin. Let's start with the TXTR. I don't care about the shadow, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So we start with the TXTR for the bar stool itself, and I'm going to go build DXT. Open the image here, and I select the one that says stool, change it to DXT3 and build. So slightly larger texture. Then we just save. Okay, and then let's go to the OBJD. And we need to generate a GID. So the way that I normally do it,
I got one with 2 textures. Is that going to be a problem? Or should I just delete one?
I would delete it, but make sure that you catch the TXMT and the MMAT too.
Of the one I delete?
Yeah, of the TXTR that you're deleting.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So I use a spreadsheet to keep track of my GIDs. If you do it a different way, that's fine. We just need a unique value for this bar stool. So we copy that. We hop back over to the GMDC. We paste the GID. We update all of our MMATs, and we commit. Okay. Then the CTSS. I'm not going to mess with it because I did that in the object workshop. It says workshop bar stool, so we're fine. If you want to change the description, you could do it here, but we're not going to spend a lot more time on that. So in the bar stool, we had 2 GMDC. We have root rot, which is for the shadow. I don't really need the shadow, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Just Don't delete the GMDC itself, just delete that subset within the GMDC. We commit. Then we have cushion and bar stool, but those two GMDC, or those two, I'm sorry, those two subsets are linked to the same material, I believe. Okay, it looks weird because let me just double check that. So the cushion is matte, but it's linked to barstool surface. Don't need ground shadow. And then the legs are also linked to barstool surface. So I just want to keep the more matte material and get rid of the other one. And that will be important when we mess with it in Milkshape. So we've got the package cleaned up a little bit. We go to the GMDC. We select the TS locator GMDC. This is the one with the animation skeleton. We right click on that and we extract. And I'm just going to call that barstool. Now we go to Milkshape. We go File, Import, Unimesh 4.09, and we go to our project folder. And we import barstool just like that. Okay. We can see it has several joints. Which one do we need to assign it to? We go to our joints tab in Milkshape and we make sure that draw vertex weights is selected. Then we double click on joint 0, joint 1, joint 2, joint 3. There it is. Okay, so everything is on joint 3. That's where we need to put our mesh. Okay, so we go File, Import, Wavefront Object, and we select Stool. If you're following along at home, I have this object and this texture in the resource post.
My stool is wearing the other stool as a hat. Really what?
But did it work for you though? Were you able to import it?
Yeah, I imported the GMC from the one that I cloned.
Okay, so we can see that the name of this group is Old Stool. That's fine. What we're going to do here, we copy cushion. We go to Old Stool and we just rename that cushion as well. Now, let's go back to joints, uncheck this, and we just double click on this joint. Then in groups, we select the group that we just added, the old bar stool, and you should see that group highlighted. Then hold down Shift, hop back to joints, or sorry, hop back to joints and assign. Now, draw vertex weights and let's make that smooth shaded. Okay, so yes, you can see that this group is now assigned to this joint. Okay, so then hop back to groups and we just delete the original two groups, just like that. So all we've got is the bar stool that we imported. The old skeleton or the old groups are no longer there. Now we go File, Export, Sims 2 Unimesh Exporter, and we call that Barstool New. In SimPE, we go back to the barstool. We make sure that that GMDC is selected in the resource list. We right click on it and we replace. We grab barstool new and we preview. There it is. Will it work with the same as... I'm not sure. I think you would probably have to build your own custom skeleton, which is a whole different thing. I'm not even skilled to speak on that. If you have an object from a different game, my recommendation is just clone something that has a skeleton as similar to that as possible and just assign the joints on the object that you're importing to that skeleton.
I picked the wrong stool.
Yeah, it might be, and I'm seeing that, okay, it's the reason why it's the imported stool is wearing it as a hat is because I think that might be one of like the pets bar stools. They have really weird animations. So what I would recommend is just sorry, I should have made that clear. Go back and clone one of the base game bar stools. For example, Keister Companion works really good.
I was just kind of like, I didn't have SimPE open. I was trying to catch up. I'm like, I'm just gonna grab whatever stool, and it was the wrong.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. So we go start over, start, and we go appliances, refrigerator, and it doesn't matter. Just the cheapest refrigerator is fine. Brand name Econocool, it's base game, we're fine. So we go next, we clone, and I'm going to call this workshop refrigerator. Well, just 300 even sounds good. So workshop refrigerator, 300 even. We finish. We rename the scene graph. Click the update link, click OK. And we save it as workshop refrigerator. Okay. And the process is really similar. So we go to OBJD. And I'm going back to my spreadsheet. Copy the GID. We paste the GID. We check update all mmats. Click on that update button and click commit. And then once again, if you want to mess with the CTSS, if you messed up when you cloned and you just want to make a new description, you can do that here. But for the purpose of this workshop, I'm not going to mess with it. Likewise, if you want to change the price later, go to the OBJD, go to the raw data tab, make sure that's decimal, and you can change your price right here. But let's go to the GMDC. This one, we've only got one. So what we do, we select the GMDC in the resource tree, once again in the resource list, and then we go extract in the dropdown, and I'm going to call this cheap fridge. Just like that. So We add the bar stool. We go File, New. We go File, Import. Sims 2 Unimesh import version 4.09. And we do cheap fridge. That's fine. We just click yes. Unhandled UV deltas. I don't know what that means, but
I have that too.
Shouldn't be an issue. Oh, okay, because the ground shadow names. The only ones we're really concerned with are fridge, cheap, null, and materials. Actually, I'm not going to use ground shadow, so I'm just going to delete all of those shadow planes right now. Some people say that makes the object look less realistic, but I super don't care.
I don't even play with shadows, honestly.
Yeah. Get rid of the ground shadow. Fridge, cheap, null. What is that? We don't need the null either.
Okay.
Contents, honestly, it looks really ugly. I will usually replace it with like 4:2 meshes or something if I'm seriously endeavoring to build a fridge, but in this case, I don't need it. It's dumb. And then that is, I'm not sure what that is. I'm just going to delete it. Let's get rid of that. And how about if we just replace that with a custom material? So in this case, there is only one door on this fridge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to joint it to the right door. So what we're going to do, we go to this, we delete everything except materials. The only one I want to leave is materials. We double click on the joints. Okay, so materials is assigned to joint 1. Okay, that's fine. Or the base is assigned to joint 1. So we import our wavefront object, ultra cheap fridge. Okay, then we hide materials, go back to joints, and we uncheck that. Then in our groups tab, we select base, and we select glass. Go back to our joints tab, and we assign. Okay.
We assign to 1?
Yeah, joint 1.
Okay. Okay.
Then let's hide those. We don't need them anymore. We've got them assigned, so let's just hide them so they're not in the way. Then we unhide materials and figure out where the right door is. It's not that one. We need to, okay, that's the left door. That's nothing. That's the right door. So joint 4 is the right door. So then we go back to groups, we hide materials, we select door. We hop back to joints, hold down shift, and we assign.
Oh, do you have to hold down shift when you assign?
Yeah, because okay, so you select the joint. If you go to the groups tab and select the door without holding down shift, it will only select the group. It will unselect the joint.
Okay.
I think that's how it works normally, but it might not. I think it depends on the version of Milkshape too. So let's unhide all and then go back and hide materials. And what I like to do to make sure that these have their own joints, we uncheck draw vertices with vertex weights and we select draw vertices with bone colors. And there we go. Everything looks peachy. Everything is assigned. Now we go to groups and we copy materials. We rename door materials and no, I'm sorry. We rename base materials because door is an extra thing. I'm going to have to add an extra material for door. See, because they're mapped differently, they have different textures. So we'll get into that. So then we delete materials, and that's it. We go File, and I'm going to call this Ultra Cheap Fridge.
Are you exporting or saving, or what are you
I'm exporting the 5GD. File,
yeah,
export Sims 2 Unimesh exporter version 4.0.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, should have been more clear on that. Let's go replace and find Ultra Cheap Fridge. Commit. Hey folks, Editing Jason here. So this next part of the workshop, I'm adding a texture and a material for the door and a material for the glass shelves. And I'm just kind of zipping through this because this isn't really the focus of this workshop. This workshop is more about joining. If you need more information about adding subsets, I recommend a video on our channel called Subset Boulevard. This was a workshop all about adding subsets to the scene graph, and there's some really good in-depth information there. But as for this video, I'm just zipping through it so that we can get to the part about testing in game. So if you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise, thank you for watching. Okay, so while we've got the fridge loaded up in the preview, let's check our joint hierarchy. So we've got the base and the glass assigned to master, and then we've got the door assigned to right door. Commit. Give that a quick save. And that is the fridge. We're ready to test. Okay, so we have our bar stool set up. We have our fridge set up. So let's send one of our characters to have a snack. So the animation works. It's a little bit off because there's only one door on the fridge. And the bar stool animation works pretty well. Yeah. Lemon lime soda. Okay. So then that's how you assign animation skeletons to objects. Next week, we will be deep diving into how vehicles are put together. It's more of the same thing, but it's a little bit more complex because the vehicle has more joints. So hope you can join us then.